Hey, I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. We're glad you're here. Subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. We appreciate it.
We'd also appreciate if you check out the podcast below in the description.
And if you checked out sleepnumber.com/ham.
We all need sleep. And guess what? We have a bed for you. Sleepnumber.com/ham. Go check it out.
Might be hard to sleep when you see this news, John. Our buddy Chris Biederman tweeting. Kyle Shanahan says Javon Kinlaw suffered a slight setback with his knee while traveling during the time off. He had surgery after last season, was withheld from team drills on Wednesday.
Little weird. Little bizarre. And I think overall, not ideal. I mean, no way around it.
Yeah.
Let's face it. The number one just storyline with this franchise, really the last couple years, even when they made the Super Bowl, people forget. Staley limped off a Cincinnati Bengal game. Remember, his leg was shattered. Maybe not shattered, but had broken. Actually, a crisp break because he was able to come back a little bit later. They lost McGlynn. I mean, they lost a ton of players that year. D Ford, that's when his injury started. Last year, they could not overcome it, and a huge reason why, their quarterback. But this is a player that you and I have hammered home that they need, right? Whether he's going to ever replace DeForest Buckner, I think that's probably unlikely and probably unfair. Can he just be a good player for him? And the only way for that to take place is going to have to be on the field. And I texted a director of college scouting. I said, do you remember him having knee issues coming out of South Carolina? He said the big issue was weight. He's just a enormous guy. I mean, you and I have been close to him. He is – Buckner and Armstead are two of the biggest tackles in the league, right? Interior defensive linemen. He is similar to them in terms of height. He's massive. You know, he's 6'6". He's not quite 6'8" like those guys. But he's thicker, way thicker. And those guys carry weight very well proportionately. You can see this guy, it's just going to be – you're going to have to hold his hand in the sense of just maintaining him. He's like any young player, but now he's battling things that somewhat out of their control, right?
Yeah, and I think what makes it difficult too, we don't know that it's bad, but we know it's not good, to your point, not ideal for a team that has a history now in recent years of dealing with injuries. But it'd be one thing if you said, you know, we've dealt with this, or they've dealt with this with Nick Bosa. But at least at a certain point, you knew exactly what Nick Bosa was. When healthy, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. I think the part that makes it a little more uncomfortable with Kinlaw is you're not exactly sure when healthy, is he developing into one of the premier defensive linemen? Like you said, he doesn't need to be as good as DeForest Buckner because it wasn't a 1-for-1 trade. You also got Brandon Ayuk, right, as kind of an ancillary part of movement. But you need a portion of that to make this work. It's what this team is predicated on. It's why we like kind of Kyle Shanahan's philosophy. For an offensive guy, he is about physicality, and that starts on the lines. And with this team, it has started on the defense. At their best, it started with the front on defense. And so that's part of it, is like part of the Niners putting it together and bouncing back this year is based on Javon Kinlaw developing. And you know, I made the joke to you, you can't make the club from the tub. And you said, well, you can if you're the 14th pick. It's true, but you can't develop from the tub. And this is going to be one of the biggest stories. This actually is a more relevant story right now than Trey Lance, because right now Trey Lance is the backup quarterback, and he needs to develop. We'll talk about him every day. He's relevant. But in terms of, do you win or lose week one? Do you look like the kind of team that can compete for a Super Bowl soon? Right. This is a big part of that.
Can you get after Dan Campbell's Lions? Early September?
John, NFL team, right? They got Lambos in the parking lot, too.
Yes.
They got Penei Sewell on the other side.
Yeah, check Jared Goff's bank account. You know, he's doing pretty well. Yeah, you know, this is just, it just shows you, anytime to me, the most concerning thing, and this incorporates all 32 teams, because you're seeing basically every team, it feels like, in football right now is on the field literally as we are recording this. You just check social media, it's a little overwhelming. But every team's dealing with a guy or two here or there, right? And to me, it's a lot different when, like, Lamar Jackson today failed a COVID test. Like, what? Okay, you know, if he's vaccinated, whether he's not, like, he's coming back. Anytime that I see, you know, he's rehabbing this. I saw the Colts, Darius Leonard had an ankle procedure we knew about. It all sounds good. Hey, Kinlaw is going to be okay. But one thing can lead to, well, all of a sudden a guy tears his ACL in a practice coming up in a week. A dude breaks his arm, and then it starts snowballing. You're like, holy shit, we've just lost 4 guys before we even blinked. That's how it happens.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
When you come in already with a couple dudes in the tub.
Right. Now,
that are going to make the club.
Now, the good news, now he probably does need some ice in the tub. The good news is Kinlaw was not standing on the sidelines in a T-shirt. Like, he was limited, right? Just like Bosa. Did some drills. He had the helmet on. He did the stretching. He was doing whatever he was doing with his team.
Something to keep an eye on.
And it wasn't, I think the other clarification, the thing we learned was it wasn't that the knee while traveling was not, he went to the beach and, stepped on a log funny. Like, his knee swelled up while he was on an airplane. But, yeah, the preferred news would be everything's fine. Why is anybody asking about Kinlaw? And I think anyone who's around the Niners is sensitive to anything that happens, given how many issues they've had from an injury perspective and how hard they have tried and kind of failed to figure out how to stop it. And you play football, you might not be able to just stop it.
Yeah, there aren't many teams in the league where if you said like a starter has a hangnail, everyone's like, oh my God, is it going to infect his foot? You just start thinking the worst naturally whenever you see something with a Barros or Mayoko tweet.
Yep. So we'll see. We'll wait and see. But it's now on the line of something to keep an eye on. And they just got a lot of things to keep an eye on. Keep an eye on Bosa every day. Keep an eye on Kinlaw. Keep an eye on Debo. Keep an eye on IU. There's a lot of things to keep an eye on with this team. And it's a reminder that football is an everyday, you have to be aware every day. You don't get to not worry about somebody getting hurt. Unless you're off. And even then, that's a whole other thing. But
ask the Niners 2020 team about that. You never know.
Never know.